In 1995, 24 years ago, rapper Christopher Wallace, also known as Notorious B.I.G., Biggie Smalls released a song that was entitled One More Chance or Stay With Me Remix. Now, I know y'all don't know anything about secular hippity hop music, so grab my hand and let me walk you through this so I can get you to Jesus. Like many other rappers at this time and now, Notorious B.I.G. is bragging about his prowess and his reputation and his success with women. But in one of his bars, he says something that you don't normally hear when rappers are bragging about all the things they think they are. The line says, "Heartthrob never, black and ugly as ever. However, I stay Coochie Down clothing brand, Coochie Down to the socks, rings and watch filled with rocks." He insults himself while bragging. He says that I will never be a heartthrob. I'm black and I'm ugly as ever. However, I stay dressed appropriately. I have things that are valuable. He talks about what people think is not attractive about him. Those lines have always stuck with me, not just because he insults himself, but because he gives reasons why it doesn't matter. He gives a reason why it's not a problem that he is considered black and ugly. He throws in, however, black and ugly as ever. However, whether Big was telling the truth or not, he understood the power of having a however. However, like but, or nevertheless, or yet, all say the same thing. I know what was just said, I know what just happened, I know how things just look, but wait for what comes next. However, Big said I can't change that I may be physically unattractive, but look what else I have. Look what else I got. That's however. I know some of you are worried, you want to know what does this have to do with Jesus. I promise if you stay with me, I'll get you there. And if I don't, you can take it up with your pastor when I leave. But we all have howevers. My grades didn't look too good, however I passed. People keep talking about me, however I didn't let that stop me from succeeding. I'm surrounded by two-faced people, however my health is failing, however I feel down, however my relationship is falling apart, however things are looking bad, however black and ugly as ever. Look, for some of you, I could sit down right there because that already means a lot to somebody this evening. There is somebody in here going through the worst of the worst that just needs to be reminded that there is a however. That divorce, there's a however. That abuse, there's a however. That broken heart, there's a however. That depression, there is a however. No way out, we still have to thank God that He provides however. We don't know where things are going on, where things are going to go in this country and in this world, but sticking with God, living for God, there can still be a however. Look, I'm going to just hit you with this and I'm gone. No matter how black and ugly things may be, no matter how set and immovable your trials, no matter if things seem like they will never change, if they are black and ugly, with God on your side, there's a tendency to get a however. But it does require work and effort on our part. On this Ash Wednesday, where the ashes of last year's palm leaves represent Old Testament sackcloth and ashes, a symbol used for penitence and grief and sorrow and sins and fault. On this Ash Wednesday, the day that people will start to give up wrong things in their lives for the right reason, there will be also a lot of people who are going to give up right things for the wrong reason. There are a lot of people who think that this is the time to diet. To finally cut out sweets because the doctor said so, or maybe the scale told you it's time to back off. To finally cut off people that they don't think they need. And that's not a bad thing. Those are good life choices. But the 40 days of Lent are not the same as your New Year's resolutions. This is a moment where we realize we have come short of the glory of God. And with the spirit of fasting, we focus on the Lord. This part is how you get to the however. And very few people show us this more than my man Jonah in this story. I know, an explanation is necessary. Let me give you a quick summary of the story. Jonah, in terms of this story, Jonah is a man who God has sent to go preach to some people who needed to get their lives together. But Jonah did not like the people and did not want to go preach to them. So he runs the other way, and he finds himself a ship, and he hops on the ship. But because he's out of God's will, a storm shows up. And when the storm shows up, everyone on the boat begins to get nervous, and they try to figure out what's going on. And eventually they find Jonah is in the bottom of the boat asleep. They have thrown off all their goods. They've gotten rid of all their valuables, just trying to figure out what is going on. And finally they find Jonah, and Jonah tells them, throw me off the boat. They don't want to do it. They don't want to kill a man, so they keep trying to find other ways. But eventually they pray to God and say, Lord, please forgive us for what we're about to do. And they throw him overboard. While Jonah is in the water, the story goes that a great fish comes and swallows Jonah up. And for 3 days he's in the belly of this fish. And while he's in there, he says a prayer. But his prayer is not about, Lord, why is this happening to me? His prayer is not one that you might think. He's not saying, Lord, save me, please. He's actually already giving God thanks for the fish. Because he understands something very clearly. If the fish didn't come, he would have drowned in that water. After that, Jonah gets vomited back out on the shore by the fish, and he decides to make his journey to the city he was supposed to go in the first place, so that he can go on and do what the Lord had already called him to do. Jonah's bad decision put him in a situation that is literally unbelievable to a lot of people. He gets thrown off of a boat in a storm and gets swallowed by a gigantic fish, prays in the stomach of the fish, then the fish vomits him up, he gets thrown up and makes it to a town 3 days away in 1 day on foot. I want to crop in on 3 things so I can let you out of here. The first peripheral point that I would like to present is black. Before those of you who are note-taking, you can go on and write that down. Point 1 is black. The storm was Jonah's black moment. He was already running from God when the storm shows up. He ends up getting thrown off this boat into the sea during this storm. This is a black moment. When I was in college, and now that I'm taking a doctorate, I've had more, but when I was in college, I was my undergrad, I had, for the first time, I had a 4-hour course once a week. And I never had a 4-hour course. That's a long time. I never knew that 4-hour courses existed. I was positive that it was illegal for anybody to have a 4-hour class. It must have been a misprint that I had a 4-hour class. It wasn't. It was true. I had a 4-hour class. And when I walked into that classroom, I had no idea how I was going to get through a 4-hour class. The idea of 4 hours in a classroom was so insane to me that I couldn't imagine when it was going to be over. I couldn't see the end. So when I walked in, I had that nervousness that comes when you don't know how this thing is going to end and you can't get out of it. The black moment, so when things don't look good, you don't know a way to stop it, and you don't know how you're going to get through it. Jonah found himself in a storm too far to go back and getting thrown into the sea. And I don't care how old you are, from 9 to 90 years old, we've all been here, when you are watching something devastating happen and there is nothing that you can do about it. When your parents are falling apart and you gotta watch, when your money is funny and you have to move or stay with somebody again, or when you wish that you could do something to help change the situation, but you are helpless, when you have been dealing with that sickness for a while, when you realize that the future you wanted is no longer an option, when your dream is slowly falling apart right in front of your eyes. We all have them, the black moments. This country is in a black moment. We don't know when things are going to start looking a little bit different. We've all had these, we've all been there. Well, welcome to the party, when there is nothing that you can do to change how this thing is going to turn out. Black moments are scary, they are painful, they are confusing, you feel emotionally unstable and mentally stressed, and you don't know when it's going to end. Now in Jonah's case, this was his fault. He was running from God. But let me just say, it's not always the case. Black moments are part of life. Black moments don't take vacations. They don't care about your schedule or your plans. Like I said, our country is one right now. Everywhere we turn, it's like we are being thrown into a storm. Black moments will come. And let me be sunny days sweeping the clouds away, luminously crystal clear. Black moments will come whether you believe in God or not. Whether you behave perfectly or not. Whether you read your Bible every day or not. Whether you have a lot of faith or a little faith. And here's a bonus point just for showing up this evening. Your black moments may be caused by somebody else. Look at the story. The men on the boat think they are going to die. They have thrown their stuff overboard. They have prayed to different gods, all because of somebody who's sleeping on their boat. I can't take a lot of time on this. It's not one of my points. But we have to ask the question, who's sleeping on your boat? Look at somebody, ask them, who's sleeping on your boat? Every now and then we have to do an evaluation. Sometimes you are in a storm because of somebody who's with you. Listen, if you have somebody on your boat, somebody in office, somebody in a position, somebody in your life taking you through a black moment, I know that you may not want to, but you might need to throw them off the boat. Now, I'm not talking about breaking up relationships and marriages. I'm not talking about committed relationships and friendships and you should just get rid of them. I'm talking about the clowns bringing drama to your life while they are sleeping. Throw them off the boat, and if I could be real, we might be somebody else's Jonah. This is the part that we don't like. We might be Jonah on somebody else's boat. Jonah hanging out with them not only brought them a storm, his presence made them lose everything. And they had to resort to behavior that they didn't even want to get involved in. But that's a sermon for another day. Let me swipe back to my main page. The first thing that we have to learn about getting a however from Jonah is that things will get black. The second point that I'd like to present is things will also get ugly. I know, an explanation is still necessary. I'm almost done, so I hope that you've been paying attention. I know I speak fast, but I promise, if you keep up with me, I'll stay with you. The black moments are when things don't look good and you don't know a way to stop it. The ugly moments are when you are completely in it and you don't see any hope. When you are in the worst of it and there's no way out of this thing. And I know that some of you are so spiritually mature that you don't have ugly moments anymore. But for the rest of us, ugly moments are still very real. It's the ugly moments when we start doing things that we wouldn't normally do. People commit suicide in the ugly moments. The black moments are when people start posting angry stuff to Facebook. The ugly moments is when you don't hear from them anymore. People go into severe depression in the ugly moments. People give up on life in the ugly moments. People go back to the bottle, back to drugs. People stay high all the time in the ugly moments. You can't smile your way out. You can't talk your way out. You can't pray your way out. You can't drink your way out. There's no Instagram story, no Facebook post, or gospel song to bring you out. You are in an ugly moment. Jonah is in an ugly moment. He gets swallowed by a great fish, according to the story, and is inside the stomach for 3 days and 3 nights. He's in a stomach with whatever else is in that stomach for 3 days and 3 nights. This is ugly. But what Jonah does in this ugly moment is interesting. He prays. And it's not the prayer that you think it would be. Chapter 2, verses 2 through 9, Jonah prays a prayer of thanks. Thanks for what? He's thanking God that he is in the fish. Why? Because he was going to drown. Jonah knows he messed up. Jonah knows he was doing what he should not have done. And he knows that the ugly moment saved him from death. If this was 2020, this would have been this would have been a night where Jonah went and got ashes put on his forehead. He knows he messed up. He says, in the scripture, he says, I said, I have been banished from your sight, yet I will look again toward your holy temple. The engulfing waters threatening me, the deep surrounded me, seaweed wrapping around my head. To the roots of the mountains I sank down. The earth beneath barred me in forever. But you, Lord my God, brought my life up from the pit. Because he knows it's only because of God that he's still here. He prays a prayer of thanks. He acknowledges, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. I got to get this thing right with you. And because of that, he is free from his situation to go do what the Lord has called him to do. We may not like them, but sometimes God works with us in our ugly moments. Sometimes we were saved in our ugly moments. Somebody in here can thank God their relationship ended. Somebody wouldn't have the job they had now if they didn't lose the job they had before. Somebody wouldn't have the relationships and friends they have right now if they would have gotten what they wanted before. Somebody wouldn't have been prepared for what's next if you had not had that ugly moment. Somebody is happy that they never hooked up with that person or never got into that situation because they found out some stuff about it later. Because everything that's black isn't dangerous. And everything that's ugly isn't harmful. Sometimes as disgusting as your situation is, God is using it to make you better. Now please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that we should praise God for that abuse. I'm not saying that we should praise God for that rape or that loss or that horrible life life-changing moment. I'm saying that God is so good that even when people impose evil on us, that even when life is rude and inconsiderate, that even in the bad days, God can still reach us and work with us to get through those days. I've always said I don't necessarily abide that God makes bad things happen, but I do believe that God is so good, he can work with us even with those bad things. Jonah sees this and he prays a prayer of thanks. He tells God that even though he ran before, he's turning back now. Can I have your full cooperation and total attention? When things are black and ugly as ever, remember God. Prayer of acknowledgement, penitence, and thanks. Let God know that you understand that you are better off where he has you than where you could have put yourself. Because as bad as things may look, God may be saving you from something and trying to speak with you because you wouldn't even listen before. So the first thing that we have to understand is that things will get black. And the second point that we had was things can get ugly. And the third point that we're going to look at is however. I know, an explanation is still necessary. Black and ugly as ever, however. I hope you can keep it up because I'm about to sit down. After Jonah's prayer, the fish vomits him up on land, and Jonah covers a 3-day trip in 1 day so that he can do what God called him to do in the first place. Jonah was just vomited up on land and is going to the city, and he must have looked a mess. I'm sure someone could have seen him running and said, I wonder what happened to that brother. And Jonah could have responded, I got caught in a storm, thrown off a boat, swallowed by a fish, stayed in the fish for 3 days and 3 nights, vomited back up on land. However, now I'm trying to break the world record for the fastest long distance run so I can stop a city from being destroyed. See, despite the vomit, he's still running for God. Despite the storm, he's still running for God. Despite the fish, he's still running for God. Despite the black, despite the ugly, he's still getting a however. He probably looked horrible. He probably has evidence of some of the stuff that he's been through. However, he's running because he knows where he was, he knows where he could be, but now he knows where he is. I'm going to say that again because for somebody you need to remember that. He's running to do the work because he knows where he was, he knows where he could be, but he knows where he is. And he knows why he's there. Listen, 5 minutes in this wrap, I just want to encourage somebody. Even if things are black and ugly as ever, God can still bless you with a however. I'm sure that you have your own story. Maybe you've done some things you shouldn't have done. Maybe you saw some stuff you should not have seen. Maybe you heard some things you should not have heard. Maybe you know some things you shouldn't know and gone some places you shouldn't have gone. However, the simple fact that you're here right now lets me know that you got hooked up from God with a however moment in your life. Maybe you lost the job you shouldn't have lost. Maybe you have an illness that makes no sense. Maybe you're struggling when everything else was supposed to be taken care of. Maybe it's black and ugly as ever. However, this is why it's important to give your life to Christ. Because everyone is going to have black and ugly moments, but not everyone is going to have a however. But with God on your side, all things work together for good. So I don't know how bad it is. I don't know what's going on at home. I don't know your struggles in your neighborhood or your family. I don't know your financial struggles or hardships. I don't know your dreams or your goals. But I do know this, that no matter how bad things may seem, if we stay prayed up and close to him, God keeps finding a way to bring us out better than we were when we started. Is there anybody in here that can praise God because he pulled a however out of nowhere? Y'all not really with me, and I think I know why. Because maybe Jonah doesn't do it for you. Maybe the story of a man being swallowed by a fish doesn't cut it for you. Well, that's fine. I understand. But there is another man by the name of Jesus who had some black and ugly moments. He was crucified and he died. Feel a little Baptist. He died. Didn't he die? He died and he was placed in a borrowed tomb. Found himself stuck. However, early on that third day, early Sunday morning, he got up with all power in his hands. And his death and sacrifice is what keeps us getting our sit down, you're making me nervous. Listen. I tell this really quick story. When I was somewhere around 20, 21 years old, I was in college, and I ended up having a stroke. And it was a fairly severe stroke. We didn't know it was a stroke at the time. We found out after I got married because I got a wife who cares about me and loves me, and she noticed I had some weird traits and I wasn't going to the hospital about it. So she said, no, you don't get this checked out. So we go to the hospital. We find out that the situation I had years earlier happened to be a stroke, right? So then things begin to make sense in terms of how I move, how I talk, how I act, things of that nature. So I tend to, as many of you see, I tend to speak out of one side of my mouth. And when I began to preach, before I told this story, I had somebody in my old church, I told them I have a little residue from the stroke. You can kind of see it in how I speak. And one guy says, oh man, I thought she was just trying to act cool. I said, no, it's a little evidence of what I've been through, and I'm okay with that. I'm all right that I got a little proof of what I've been through. I got some evidence that I've fallen, and if I can admit, that's why I like Christians who look just a little bit rough. I like seeing believers who look a little bit scarred and they act with a little bit of a problem. I know we're trying to look good. We show up to church like we're taking our selfies and trying to find the best way to present ourselves. We're in church with our filters on. We're photoshopped, and we have on our spiritual makeup and our spiritual teeth whitener and our spiritual spanks. But if you look hard enough, sometimes you can see evidence of what people have been through. Sometimes you can look at a young person and see they've been through some things. I like Christians who carry a few bruises, because you are a walking reminder that there is a however. When I see you, I know there's a however. Black and ugly as ever, however. Maybe you've done some jail time, however. You may not have the nicest clothes, however. You might not walk completely straight, however. I know there's a however in your life. But here's the thing, we praise God because he keeps doing it over and over again. Listen, I gotta go. I told the story. I'm not a dog person. I'm not in 2020. People look at you like you're a murderer if you're not a dog person. I don't know when that happened. It used to just be you didn't like dogs. Nobody bothered you. Now you don't like dogs. You're a sadistic killer or something. I don't know what that's about. I'm not a dog person. Never have been. But I know a bunch of dog lovers. And one day when I was new to Connecticut, at the time I went to my cousin's house, which was in Naugatuck. And he was helping me buy a new car. But here's the thing, he had this young but big dog. I don't know what kind it was. I want to say it was a pit bull, but it was this young, big, muscular dog. And every time my cousin walked in, the dog would just jump all over him. Every day, every single time, that dog would jump all over to him. You could see him in the window watching him walk into the house, and his tail would be waving and he would be excited. And it didn't matter how long my cousin was gone. It didn't matter if the dog was hungry. It didn't matter if the dog was fed. It didn't matter if it was a nice day. It didn't matter if it was a rainy day. So one day we walk in after looking at a few cars that day, and I look at the dog, it jumps on its owner, and I look at the dog and I simply say, enough! Listen here, dog. I'm not a dog person. And it's annoying to me how every time we walk in, you gotta jump on him, and sometimes on me. Why do you keep jumping on him, dog? And the dog said, Hough, I'm sorry if my excitement bothers you. I just get excited every time he comes home. And I have to show him how I feel. I said, but dog, he comes home every single day. Do you forget that he came home the day before? The dog said, no, silly, I don't forget. I know he came home yesterday. I was happy he came home yesterday. And I'm happy that he's home today. And I'm going to be happier than that tomorrow. I said, wait, you get happier every day? The dog said, yes. I said, for what? The dog said, look, I was excited the first time he came home. But then he did it again. And then he did it again. And then he did it again. The dog said, you don't understand. He keeps showing up over and over again. I said, so what? The dog said, what do you mean, so what? If it weren't for him, there'd be no food in my bowl. However, if it weren't for him, there'd be no roof over my head. However, if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have a bed to sleep in. However, so even though it might take y'all. The dog said, I might be behind bars. I might be in the street. I might be starving to death. I know some other dogs that didn't make it. I'm sorry if my jumping bothers you. But if it weren't for him, I might be dead, sleeping in my... I said, no, I'm going to have to use that in a sermon. He said, no problem, just give me credit. Community, listen up. I'm not going to let a dog be a better praiser than me. Is there anybody in here who can give a however praise? I can't speak for you, so you can't be mad. But if there's one thing I'll say, it's that I'm so glad that God gives us a however. Turn to the person next to you. Say however. Tap the person in front of you. Say however. Look behind you. Tell somebody however. However, you ask. However, he's able. Can somebody say he's able? Anybody ever believe that he'll do it? He's able to do exceedingly, abundantly, above all that we can ask for. Somebody give God some praise. He's able. He's able. Listen. I can close on that, but I want to remind you, his aspiration, we got stuff to do. Here's the thing. No. Let's be serious for a second. Here's the thing. For all the praising and for all the shouting and for all the howevers, it requires us to get deep in our faith and look at the Lord and say, Lord, I know I'm not doing it the way I'm supposed to. I know I messed up. I know I got to get closer. I know I got to get better. I know I got to figure this thing out. And although we have examples of fasting and sackcloth and ashes over Old Testament stories and various prophets, we even have Jesus telling his disciples that there's some things that only come out through prayer and fasting. The reality is we have to have those moments with God where we say, I got to get this thing right. And as we get ready to go into the next part of this service, I want you to keep that in mind. However, it's great, and we can praise God because he's so able for what he's done. But let's remember that comes along with a responsibility on our part. To stop always running away, to stop always trying to get away from what God wants to do and bring ourselves back. Yes, it can be black. Yes, it can get ugly. But let us praise God and remember there's always a however. God bless you.